What up, everybody? It is Raphierial here with Towers of Light. I am here with Chata van den Akker.
Yes.
Enter brand name here. Uh, so today we have something special for you. We did an Akashic reading jointly together around the emotional healing process, around emotions in general, around solar flares, around the importance of our evolution into actually feeling our emotions and not just leaving them all stuck in the body. And we got an Akashic perspective on all that, which is super juicy, super juicy. How you feeling over there, Chance?
Absolutely juicy and super exciting. So I would say please check it out, watch it, and we go over the four main emotions. There's a lot of interesting perspectives and information that came out around how to create a more emotional free world and how to do this for ourselves and for the generations to come and what that world could look like.
Yes. Especially focused on anger. There's a lot of good and juicy content on anger and how to release anger in the many different ways that we can.
Absolutely.
Do you want to say a little bit about what you do, Chata?
Yeah, so as Raphierial said, my name is Chata van den Akker. I am a sacred womb keeper and I share sacred womb wisdoms. I also have a project called Raw and Sacred Motherhood, where I'm sharing the challenges and the beauties and various information around motherhood, which is super exciting because I am a mom of a 5-year-old amazing child and strong-willed fireball. And yeah, I'm also an emotional alchemy coach where I have made my own emotional processing flow, which includes movement, embodied movement, somatic tracking, breath work, and various other processes to help us feel, transmute, and release our emotions for more vitality and more health and wealth, and to really be the co-creator of our lives, and really claim the life that turns us on.
Beautiful. I am not a mom or a dad. I father and mother myself these days in big ways. But yeah, I'm Raphierial. Towers of Light is my brand. You can find it on Instagram or TikTok. I do Akashic readings, past life readings. I do mystery school coaching, which is basically taking hermetic principles that I've learned over the years that have helped me to recreate my reality and recreate my mind structure, which I'm giving to others and helping other people create their own realities on purpose. I also do card readings, and I have my own brand of emotional healing processing that I learned through possibility management. It's just a container where we reclaim pieces of ourselves by letting our emotions get really big and getting to the root cause of the emotions, finding what part of childhood we may have been stuck in this programming of how we think life is, or the story of how life is in this victim complex, and getting to reclaim that, make a new decision, and bring it into a more empowering light within our lives. I also do dream interpretations and an array of other mystery school-like things. Yeah.
Beautiful. I also love what you said around that he mothers and fathers himself these days. And I mean, I wish before I became a mom that was part of my journey, but that happened after birthing my child. So yeah, the more people in the world that can mother and father themselves beforehand, I think would be pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important. It's pretty important in my life.
Kudos to you.
Cool.
All right. Shall we jump straight into the recording then? Yes?
Yeah, I think that it is time to get into the juice of the Akashic recording.
All right. I hope you all enjoy the following recording. See you on the flip side. Are emotions the key to our consciousness and physical evolution as a human race? How does processing our emotions allow for greater quality of life?
We see that for these ones who are gathered, it is important for them to know that emotions are the next step within their evolutionary process, where they were always meant to come to this planet and feel their emotions, and in many ways we're taught to repress these emotions, which has caused a lot of disturbance, distortion, what can be described as distortion within the field of the availability of evolution and moving forward as a species and connecting together. It is in this intimacy, it is in this expression of emotions that the collective is meant to dance, meant to feel, meant to express, and allow these emotions to be like signposts for what is to come and inform them within their cellular structures and their different bodies, within their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bodies. This is a means of transportation, a means of steering their ship, a means of encompassing, having a compass, which is their intuitive feature through these emotions and through these feelings. And for the amount of repression and stuck energy that is within these ones' bodies, for them to go into their emotions and begin to practice opening this field of new vision, this field of new sight, this field of new availability to see more clearly what is outside of Mara, outside of Maya, outside of the matrix, inside creating a new foundation for what it will look like moving forward for not only themselves, but for the generations to come, to be more in alignment with this availability to evolve, as there has been a great stuckness, a great stagnancy within these ones and within the collective as a whole around emotionality. And it has very much been cut off. And it is time for these ones to, on purpose, go into those emotions and cut them on, and not to see them as negative or positive, but to see them as the tool in which that will enrich their lives, that will allow them to unstick the stuck and find a flow within their bodies, within their intuition, and within their ability to make proper perspective choices as how to create their reality next. His emotions are very connected with how these ones create their reality, and together, as they begin to enter into this journey of feeling their emotions, they are more readily available to steer the ship together, this Mother Earth ship, if you will. This collective conscious reality will both begin to break down in its matrix form and will have a greater availability for connection and harmony within its evolution to a more open and higher consciousness. This is all.
What is the importance of individuals and the collective feeling and transforming their anger, as well as their sadness, their fear, and their joy?
Repeat the question.
What is the importance of individuals and the collective feeling and transforming their anger?
We see that for these ones, the importance in feeling and expressing their anger on an individual level and on a collective level is that in many ways this anger has been demonized. It has been cut off. It has been told, it has been shoved into a box. It has been shoved into the corner and told that it is not an emotion that is available for being felt, which in many ways is taking away the power of the individual, as anger is a source of potential energy for great change. And through this choice to express oneself in anger, it is the availability for one to stand more fully in their power and to see it in a different light than it has been painted within the mainstream structures and to reclaim that sovereign power that is anger, and to bring that to the surface, as well as there are many stuck energies and stagnant energies, as has been described within this anger field, that have been pushed deep, deep down, not just from these ones in this form, but from ancestral trauma and from ancestral programming, where all have been taught for many generations not to express this particular emotion. So the unlocking and freeing can be quite an explosive thing, as there are many stuck energies of moments in not just your lives that you did not feel your anger, but in moments of ancestral karma where they were not allowed to feel their anger or were not expressing their anger fully. So this is a process and a practice, and can be quite explosive and intense in certain moments, and is to be taken gradually and in practice as you learn to repurpose and gain a new perspective around what it means to be angry, and what it means to express one's anger in a healthy way, and to not diminish oneself, to allow others to feel comfortable, but to truly step into that sovereign energy within your anger. It is yours, and it is to be used as a tool to move forward and into new ways of living, new ways of learning how to create your reality with better boundaries and more proper perspective force. And it is also important to mention that it can be a very destructive energy. So to be very, very constructive and discerning around where the anger might be built out of trauma, and where the anger is actually the flow, the intuition, the space to move into more of that willpower and that energetic force that is helping to create and recreate your reality at all times. This is all.
What is the importance of individuals and the collective feeling and transforming their sadness?
We see that sadness is a great clearance tool, a tool for clearing the energetic bodies of energies around situations that arise that pertain to attachments and pertain to love, giving and receiving love, and avenues being shut off in that regard. It is important for these ones to acknowledge their sadness and be with the tears in a way that allows them to clear their system of what has been a part of their existence and might no longer be a part of their existence, whether it be the death of a physical loved one, or the death of a project, the death of to deal with death in a way that is constructive and allows for the cleansing and the clearing to be more within the moments of the present, clean and clear of any energetic cyclical patterns that might arise from grief and from situations of pain in the different forms that they come in. It is a way of clearing the energetic system, the auric field, and aligning the bodies back to a 0 point, a point of presence within a moment without an attachment. This is all.
What is the importance of individuals and the collective feeling and transforming their fear?
We see that these ones, much like anger and sadness, joy in many ways, has been turned on its head and painted in a negative light. And there is much fear that this collective is feeling at this time, especially with the turbulent waters and the the things that are happening externally, and this fear can be an indicator of what direction to move in next. It can be a very constructive tool, and to gain a new perspective around fear and what it represents, and to understand when the fear is actually trauma, when the fear is trauma, whether it be from this lifetime or another lifetime or ancestral trauma. It can be from something that is no longer serving these ones to be afraid of. And to check in with whether it is a traumatic emotion, something that is an illusion, or is it a feeling, something that is happening in the moment that is indicating that one should choose a new direction and move in a way that will keep these one's physical forms safe. It is a delicate dance and balancing as we choose new perspectives and new ways to see reality. There are many trapped emotions, and in the collective there is much fear that is not necessarily helping them to keep their physical form safe, or to be in a space of trusting that fear. So learning to discern between the fear of an emotional traumatic response, and the fear of a moment of, if I do not take this action, then my physical form will actually be in danger, much like if there were a lion. And one chose to ignore that fear and not take care of themselves or move out of the way of that particular metaphorical lion, then they would possibly die. So fear is a great tool for steering the compass, as are all emotions. This is all.
What is the importance of individuals and the collective feeling and transforming their joy?
We see that it is important for these ones, that even in these times that they're living through in the now, even with the turbulence in the exterior, the falling of the Maya, the falling of the Mara, the falling of what has been the breaking down of an old ego structure, it is important for these ones to express joy, and it's important for these ones to gather together and express their joy together, and allow this to be a thing that happens regularly. As for these ones, it is also, as with all emotions, they have been painted in such a light to exert more control within the matrix format, and for these ones to reclaim their joy and reclaim their expressions of joy, and to express them in ways, and invite each other to express them in ways that honor the true passions and true glory of each one's individual dharmic expression on this planet Earth. And it is all emotions together that allow for a true experience of this life. And joy is an emotion that has been repressed and has been pushed to the side and also put in a corner, as have all emotions. So to gain new perspective on what emotions mean in general, and how important it is to have the alchemy of laughter within the pain, as it is a dance of balance between the joy and the suffering, and to allow both, and to allow joy to be a more deep expression within the collective and with each other, inviting yourself to more joy even when you are alone, when you are by yourself. It is important to connect to this joy and what you do have to be grateful for, even if it is challenging or you're facing something that is painful. It is important to allow joy its time presence and to acknowledge it. For many do not acknowledge it, they are numb to it, and it is present and they just ignore it, or can be described as taking it for granted. So to explore what joy means to each of these ones, and bring it more into the forefront of their field at this time, it is very important. This is all.
What are healthy ways for adults and children to feel and transform anger without perpetuating it?
we see that for these ones, anger again has been painted in a destructive light, and for any emotional process, it is the purpose is to find new understanding, and the same can with anger itself. It is in feeling the anger in a way that is healthy for the ones that feel it, and getting to a new understanding of why were they angry, what brought up this anger, what do they no longer wish to experience, what is not working for them, where are their boundaries, is this a yes, where is your yes, where is your no, or who are you angry at, and always reflecting back that there is something happening internally that allows this anger to come up to help build better boundaries and steer one into an understanding of self that is more sovereign, so that when situations arise, you are able as a collective and as an individual to respond rather than react. And reaction many times will come with destruction and can come with the perpetuation of anger, instead of having the nobility, the responsibility to get to some certain point that they understand why they were angry. And this will allow the anger to resolve as these ones treat themselves in more sovereignty and in more understanding of where their yeses and nos are. And the point of this anger is to allow for destruction of old patterns that no longer serve, and move into a true identity of your divine essence. For the anger, again, it points you to your true north. Where are you, where are your boundaries being crossed? And how would you like to respond to that in a different way? And not a forceful way necessarily, but in a willful way that allows you to be in your power, be in your strength, and still not cause physical and mental harm, to take full responsibility for what you are creating and how you are creating it. And it is an indicator for the individual to know themselves truly. This is all.
And if one is not in a place to respond to anger yet, and they are only reacting, what healthy modalities can adults and children use to be with or to move the energy of anger?
We see that there are many ways on this planet, many different modalities that would help one express anger. We see rage rooms, we see emotional healing processing, we see holding space that allows people to act out their anger and to interact with those that they are angry with in a way that someone would play the role of those that they are angry at, so they could fully express that emotion and get the stagnant energies moving. There are many ways of finding out where the anger is within the body with the emotional code, and moving into understanding this rage and doing it in ways that are safe, as many have much stagnant anger within their physical forms. It is important for them to find these ways and to hold space for one another and allow each other to express their anger in ways that again move the energy and move the flow, allow stagnancy to move away, allow the thoughts that are creating these emotions to move out of the system, as there are many old programs that would have you stuck in these anger patterns over and over. And in many ways it is designed to have you in a reaction. So to understand that much of the anger that may be present for you is ancestral, it is within this lifetime that you have been experiencing, and it is from parallel and past lifetimes. And this is trauma, and it is not to be spilled out upon the world. It is to be moved through your body, and to take responsibility for that anger within, and those traumas and those emotions. It is the deep work that we are moving through. And there are many ways that people can hold space for one another to have these experiences that are less destructive. And this is all.
People with a fiery constitution may experience anger differently than those with an earthy or watery nature. How does this affect the way they should manage and transform anger?
We see that everyone is different. We see that all are unique, all have different natures and structures, all have chosen different astrological dispositions within this lifetime. And it is up to the individual what is best for that individual, because we see that all of these modalities have a place and a time, and that for these ones to tune in to their bodies, and this is part of the evolutionary process, to get more in tune with the body, get more in tune with what is a yes and a no. Much of this is discovering your own boundaries and your own disposition, as all of you encompass all elements, and there are moments in time where the fiery nature of the volcano must be expressed, and there are times when the cool river can flow and allow for a more easeful journey through these particular emotions. And it is truly up to the beholder, the eye of the beholder, the one that is moving through the emotion, to decide what is best for them within this space, and what is not necessary to express in such a way. For there are many things in the subtle body that these ones may have moved past as far as thoughts, but they might still be trapped within the emotional body. So to allow these emotions to come through in the way that they wish to, and to choose to look at it as an experiment, for this life is an experiment. And as you go into these situations and you try these different modalities and these different understandings of how to move emotionality, check in with how your body feels afterwards, check in with how your emotional body feels afterwards, your different bodies, your mental bodies, your physical bodies, what is moving for you. And even in those moments of pain, to check in with that pain and see if it is a part or a symptom or a releasing or something that you are experiencing to indicate that you have moved something throughout your system. So there's much to take into account when deciding how best to approach these different modalities, and find what works for you, what works best for you, what is helping you to evolve, what changes are you present within these different modalities, and try different things, and try to trust your intuition through the process, and be much like a beginner with a beginner's mind of not fully understanding and being okay with succeeding and failing alike, as this is the way to evolution. And this is all.
What are some of the most common reasons people on Earth don't freely feel their anger, sadness, fear, and joy?
As has been given.
Yes.
As has been given, there are many places in your current structure of reality that have repressed these emotions on purpose to push the collective in a direction of duality, of separation, of not tapping into the intimacy that can be present within these ones' lives as they so choose.
What would life be like if the majority of humans were more freely emotionally expressed?
We see that this is the direction that you are moving in, out of a system that would have you repress your emotions and act in certain ways to be socially accepted. This would allow for a deeper level of intimacy that would leave beings expressed in their fullest nature, allowing for new thought forms, new emotions, new creations of reality. It would break down even quicker the structure of the matrix that is being broken down at this time. And through this intimacy, it would create something completely different. It is not clear what it would create exactly, as this is yet to be written, as it is in this intimacy, in this exploration of emotion, that it allows people in the collective to come together with a different understanding of what it could mean to be alive. What could it look like to reprogram this structure? What could it look like for the earth, and how each individual is allowed to express? It would free much more of the capacity for these ones to actualize their creations, actualize their ideas, and come to a better understanding as a people of what they wish to experience on this earth plane next. This is all.
Upon having this awareness, how can we best choose to feel and process our emotions?
We see that gathering together, creating containers where this is acceptable, creating containers and bubbles of consciousness within these containers that allow for a deeper expression of self, a deeper intimacy, an invitation to deeper intimacy with one another. And on an individual level, it is in the work that one chooses to do, the shadow work, the light work, the balance of the two, the bringing together the shadows, the expression of the shadows, the inclusion of all parts of self in a way that allow for a true emotional understanding of oneself and true emotional clearing of oneself. It is in each individual doing the work that it clears and ripples out to the collective, and ripples out to the ancestral karma, and it ripples out to all parallel and past lifetimes. As these ones clear their emotions, their ancestors' emotions are also being cleared, alive and dead. And within this clearance, it frees up more energy for these ones to provide each other with truth, sovereignty, intimacy, and actual communication that is coming from a heart-centered space rather than from a head-driven space, and to invite each other into these heart spaces, get clear on what you wish to see and heal inside of yourself. And as you heal that, then take your experience and teach others, and allow others the same invitation to move into their heart space in ways that for many has been inaccessible and is becoming more accessible now through individuals' actions. And especially with those who are gathered here, it is important to take your life experiences that have been painful, that have caused suffering, that have brought joy, these things that you have overcome, and to bring them into the forefront and be raw, authentic about what your experience of these things are, and to be your true self. For it is in this true self experience that allows for others to see that it is even possible. For many do not even understand that there is another way, and this is becoming less and less as more become awakened. But inviting people to this particular playground, inviting people into this intimacy, this depth of transformation that you as individuals may have found for self, or are discovering for self, and actively inquiring within self as to what is true for you now, what is real for you now, and what can you teach, beyond the illusion of needing to be healed fully in order to do so, and just giving what you have already accomplished and giving yourself credit for that accomplishment, and then teaching from that space of the parts that you have healed and the trials and tribulations that you have overcome. This is all.
What can we do to support children in being more emotionally free and expressive?
Much like has been described, it is in creating containers that allows them to see that it is okay to express these emotions. For many of them have ancestral lineages that would be locked in a system of acting a certain way and not expressing their emotions. And it is within all things that have been given thus far, within the individuals that are adults, going through and changing their experience of existence and beginning to feel their emotions. It is inviting the children into the same container, as well as the energy of the clearance that is happening within the adults that are present here. It is, as you heal and as you open those doors for yourself, you are also energetically opening the doors for those children, as they are sponges. They are much more intuitive, readily availably intuitive. And as you clear yourself, you allow them to keep that open sense of intuition moving forward, as they see that it is safe. They see that it is safe to act in this way, as they have been taught that it is not safe for many generations, as have you, which is what for the adults is, for the older generation, is being asked of you to reopen these doors to your intuitive capacities, and trust that these children have the intuitive capacities. And as you heal, they see that there is an invitation for them to be a certain way, be a sovereign way. And in your understanding of your own emotions and how they create your reality, it then allows them a more easier walk in taking responsibility for their emotions. And it is in creating these containers, and even more so in taking care of one's own personal field of energy, and creating a space within self that allows self to be more actualized, to be more intimate, to be more open to the anger, joy, fear, and sadness, to not push these away, to allow them and invite them in the door, as they invite them in the door, and sit with them and process them to an end point. Then this is the invitation. This is already communicated to these children who are receiving communication far past the verbal of the five senses within the physical, and are in tune already with many of their other faculties. And to have them nurtured by those that they look up to, those that they see as their caretakers, will allow them much more space and sovereignty in their progressions. It is also important to mention that there are initiatory time periods within a child's life. 6 to 7 is an age where there is more consciousness, and there is more of an understanding of emotional systems, and they begin their journey in creating, while still very much in alignment with the ones of the parents, the ones of the adults that they are surrounded with. And at the ages of 11 and 12, there is an initiation into taking responsibility for their actions, taking responsibility for their emotions, taking responsibility for their thoughts and how they create their reality. And in many ways, these initiations could be very beneficial to have actual points of initiatory ceremony that allow these children to understand more deeply what they are stepping into in their next walks of life. In many ways, these initiations have been suppressed and taken out of the collective consciousness, and to bring these back in with your own personal ceremonies and containers, it could be of great benefit in helping mark transitionary periods within the human evolutionary track. This is all.
Last question. Some people experience symptoms like anger and frustration during solar flares. How can we support ourselves when this happens? And are there any preventative measures?
There are many solar flares. There will continue to be many solar flares, and these are energetic representations of light energies re-entering the space as you have called them in, as you have collectively to live in a less dense energy and to continue to lighten your energy. This light is coming in, and it is helping with this evolution, which we see does cause many triggers, and it is a catalyst for evolution, not just in the DNA structure, but in the mental structures, in all structures of the body. with the capacity for feeling emotions more fully, the capacity to see more clearly through story, and it is in an explosive nature. So it is very much like volcanic eruptions within the energy fields that is causing much to come to the surface. As your consciousness is raising and you are able to take in more light, and it can be very turbulent and very extremely intense for those who are not aware of what is happening. And this can cause many mental illness flare-ups. This can cause many points of emotional instability. And it is seen that for those who are listening now, it is in doubling down on your doubling down on finding balance within your experience, on in your practices. What do you do that brings you into balance? What do you do that causes disharmony? And to weed out the situations and habits that cause you to become off balance, as there are many opportunities with these solar flares where people will become off balance. And if you are already in a state of off balanced nature, you will more readily fall or swing the pendulum to one side and have a reaction. Whereas if you are already in a state of more balance within the self, if you are choosing to meditate and do yoga or do breath work or other practices, qigong, tai chi, these practices that allow you to keep your energy more pristine and to be more in tune with your energy when these flares flare up, when these eruptions, when these different energies come in, you are more readily available to stand, as you are already in more of a center point, a 0 point within inside of yourself. So it is very much up to the individuals to find the balance between the ebbs and flows of life, the physical and the non-physical, and to be more readily in acknowledgement that these waves happen, and that that these moments will pass, and that these things that are coming to the surface are very necessary in order to help those clear old programmings of how they thought life was supposed to look. Old ego structures are dying, and this can be a very painful and scary experience. So to allow these angers to come up, to allow the anger to come up in a way that allows the emotion to clear. Where is your boundary now? What story is not serving you? What is coming to the surface? What are you experiencing? Why are you experiencing it? And to be very much in a beginner's mind with these moments of intensity, even if you do feel as if you've fallen over, it is in the extreme nature of some of these very stuck old energies that are coming to the surface, for you have allowed them and asked them to come in. And as a collective, you are evolving, and to evolve is to see what no longer serves, to allow an old ego to flare up to the surface and see what is no longer true for you within that ego structure, which is where the anger would play a key role in assisting you in seeing what is not true, what is not real, what is illusion, and what is in the way of you embodying more of your divinity, more of your true essence, and to allow all that is to be, and allow this to show you the direction that is new and forming for where you will go as a collective and as an individual in these next walks, in these next months. Especially, there will be much turbulence. So to hold your center, find your center. This is all.
Okay, thank you. You will now relax and be at peace. You are now relaxed and be at peace.
Welcome to the flip side of this Akashic record recording. I hope you really enjoyed it. I know it was super enjoyable and interesting for me. And again, we both share emotional release or emotional processes to transmute, feel your emotions and get to the root cause of these things. And for myself, I have a link below with all of my information in the description, as well as in the next month, I will be definitely sharing a free emotional alchemy online process. It will be in a group setting, and there will be a recording as well. So it doesn't matter what time zone you will be in. So click on the link, put in your information, and then you will get an email promptly with the exact date and time. And I would love to see you there and move some things in really fun ways.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I also do an emotional healing processing. So feel free to check out my link. It'll take you straight to my Calendly, and I do Akashic past life readings, and you get to ask a few personal questions and get an Akashic perspective around. So basically, a soul's perspective around whatever questions you're feeling into. What's next in life? What does this mean? What does that mean? No health questions, but yeah, that and the emotional healing process is really letting your emotions get really big in a way that our society has really tried to suppress, and unsticking what has been stuck, maybe since childhood, maybe from other past lives, maybe from wherever it comes from. But I've found it really important for me to fully express my emotions as loudly and be invited into those spaces, and reclaim my power, reclaim parts of my soul, reclaim more of my sovereignty as a human being as we evolve, baby. So yeah, go ahead and click the link and schedule something with me, and Towers of Light on Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing. And I want to add two things to that. Number one, I have both had Akashic readings and the emotional processes that Raphierial offers, and really both super amazing. And he holds the space in a very solid, present way, which has allowed me to go really, really deep. And we've had some amazing sessions. So yeah, just want to put that in the space.
Yeah, I want to put that same thing in the space, because for months we were exchanging these processes and really getting into the different modalities, and helping each other to really be more fully expressed. And I really appreciated the journey that is the emotional alchemy process that you've got set up, Chata. It's quite like a birthing process, but you know, with all the things of the dance of being alive too, almost like death to birth to death to birth again.
Thank you. I received that. And the secondary thing, if I can still remember it, let me see, that I wanted to put in the space. Let me bring it back into the space.
And so it is.
And so it is. Apparently it is not. Oh, I did want to add, yes, just another perspective of to add on what you were saying around how important your emotional processes have been for you and in your life. And I want to add that for my journey too, that I was super sick. I had PTSD. I had multiple ailments on a physical level, a mental level, even on a spiritual level. As my baby was born, I couldn't even walk up the stairs sometimes. I couldn't hold my child without pain. I was in moments in deep depression, and I didn't know how to get myself out of it. And all the mantras and the little things I picked up on my spiritual journey didn't do it until I started removing my emotions and going to those depths with my body, with my breath, and with presence. And that just like cleared everything. And currently I am the most healthiest, most vibrant, vital than I've ever been before in my life. I have never been this healthy, never been this strong on a body, mind, and soul level, and including my nervous system. So yeah, this has been the most important, I think, thing in my journey, and still is, you know, to really be present with those emotions, to get the wisdom from going through that emotional wave, right? So I can integrate that into my life and keep the flow of energy in my body in my physical body, in my mental body, so I can show up for life and for motherhood and all the things that I love to do, like this that we're doing.
Yes. 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 I love that. And I want to piggyback on that a little bit and just say that, there's been spaces in my life where it's been very challenging to be intimate with people, and that I've just kind of worn a mask and been a chameleon and just like fit in every situation, and just kind of, and not in a way where I was a full yes man, but just like for my own gains or for my own like sense of safety or self-worth or the validation of others, and that game that used to be played, and like through going into the fear that is intimacy and like truly being raw, authentically me in front of people, and going into containers such as the ones that we're talking about with a person that is holding a safe and sacred container and is available to hold the space and just witness me within my within the shadow pieces of me that I'm ready to show people. And I'm just really grateful that that's how I'm able to come to the table now, because I've really gone through enough of an emotional processing to have a full-on ego death around it and be just a different version of self that I didn't know existed but was always there. And just emotional healing processing is really good for clarity and removing things from the creature, the animal man body, so that the soul can more fully drop in, and you can live more in that Satnam, that truth of essence, that divine truth, that like that you came here to be, that was kind of programmed out of you from all the ways you're supposed to act as a child, or that stick with you as you grow up. And then you're like living this fucking lie, and you're like, what's happening to me? And like nobody knows the answer until somebody figures it out. And I think that's reflected in the Akashic reading that you just witnessed, and I can reflect that in my own life as just being much more presently me, and more able to flow with the changes and the emotions that come up and feel them as they come up, not just like lock up or trap them or try to push them away or run away from them. And not to say that I'm perfect with that by any means, but I am definitely the healthiest mentally that I've ever been in my life, and well equipped to handle anything that comes up now that I've stepped into the arena of emotions.
Amazing, and celebrating that for you. And yeah, what comes up with me with that is, as you're doing these emotional processes, you learn to be with your emotions more versus push away or try to put yourself and force in it, but just how to be with, right? And I really resonate. Like, I too have never been so much of myself in this moment in space time, because of releasing and just being able to be more of my authentic true self by being more connected to my emotions. And a lot of us at least have had either our homes or our educational system, society, they're saying like emotions are not welcome, or certain emotions aren't welcome, others are okay to a degree or a limit, right? And so like, how can we break free of this and just create a more emotional free world, emotional expressive world? How can we be the role models for the generations to come, for our children, and how can we break that generational cycle of emotional suppression, right? And so yeah, that just got highlighted with what you were saying over there.
Yeah, the more people can find the way, the more people like us who are finding ourselves can shine that light and express that truth, the more available it is to ripple out. And just the energetics of us doing it is already rippling out. But like putting out stuff like this and being authentic and being daring, being
daring,
courageous.
Being daring and edgy and really ourselves. And I'm going to bring it even a step bigger and a little cliche perhaps, but this is what I truly believe is like, if we all lived in a more emotionally expressive world, like I believe a lot of our problems would dissolve quite swiftly. You know, if you are disconnected with your emotions, it's easy to take another person's life or to go to war or all of these things. But if you're connected to your emotions and your empathy and putting yourself in other people's shoes and your compassion, then a lot of the things that are happening in the world wouldn't happen because it's so out of integrity of who you truly are. You know, so I believe, like, yeah, we want to stop all of these things from all fronts, but man, if we were just like really connected to our emotions and expressive in those ways, there would be a great change in the world that we see.
Yeah, I love that we're using our own words to reflect what I think came through within the Akashic reading too. So it's like very doubled down on like soul's perspective, Akashic perspective, and our own personal truths kind of being reflected through that Akashic wisdom. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. It starts with us, and it starts with taking responsibility for what is coming for you and not sloshing it around on all the people around you. Not projecting things, but really saying, oh, I'm triggered. This is what I'm moving through. And owning it, taking responsibility and cleaning it up.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm super stoked that we got to do this. Thank you, Raphierial. This has been a really beautiful journey. Just like this is our first time doing producing something co-creatively in this way. So I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the space and for those who are watching. And yeah, wishing you an amazing day and sending so much love to all that you do and all that you are and all that you will do.
Thanks so much. I love you, Chata. Always a pleasure to expand our dimensions and into a creative space. Love it, love it, love it. And more to come, I'm sure. More to come. Yeah, I've got ideas. We'll talk about that.
I feel so.
Cool. Raphierial out. Towers of Light. Good night.
Bye-bye.